it. You are such a turd.
Hello everybody, it's Delilah and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the first sit-down video of the new year. Actually, this is the first video I'm filming in the new year. We had a lovely weekend just relaxing, puzzling, reading, and I feel very refreshed and ready to start the new year. So we're starting the new year with a marriage Q&A. So Zach is joining me today. I went over to Instagram and I asked you what you wanted to know, what questions you had for us. I picked a few questions. Zach has not seen these questions, but okay, before we start. When I was reading through these questions, I felt very inadequate. We're human and our marriage is not perfect and there are a lot of ways in which we could improve. Talking mostly to myself here. I feel like the Lord used you guys and your questions to say, hey Delilah, you've got some areas to work on. You need to do better. You can do better. And so I feel very inadequate to answer a lot of these questions. In fact, there's a few that I skipped past and won't be answering today because I know I need to work on those areas first before I can answer them. So just know that these answers, this video that we're coming at you with today is coming from people who are not perfect, who are always learning. We've got a lifetime of marriage to continue to learn and to get better and to give more sound advice. How do children impact your marriage and relationship, positives and negatives?
I guess with me, it makes me appreciate the smaller things. Seeing their excitement when they open presents, giving them gives me more excitement than getting things.
It makes you a lot less selfish.
Yeah. Seeing their joy in the simple things. He always compliments us. He loves my black pants. So even everything that they do is so innocent and pure in a way.
You can learn a lot of lessons.
You can learn
kids.
a lot of lessons from them, yeah.
But how does that affect our marriage relationship?
By seeing them appreciate me doing small things, I can look at that and appreciate the small things you do.
It makes you really strive to be a better person and to model a better marriage, a good, happy marriage, healthy marriage, because they look up to you so much and your kids look to you as like their safe place. They look at your marriage as their safe place. And if we're rocky and unstable, they're gonna be rocky and unstable. It kind of forces us in a way to be better and to love each other more and love each other better.
Try harder in our marriage for the small things, even if it's like if I leave to say I love you, Mom, to reassure them that I love you, even though you know that I love you and we know that, but we need to practice still saying it.
And serving each other and just really model a good relationship for them. Also too, for their future relationships. It made me see you in a whole different light. Like seeing you become a dad, like it just makes me love you even more.
That's very sweet. Right back at you.
The negatives though, they are sneaky and they will try to grab your full attention and drag your attention away from your spouse. Not intentionally, that's just kids. But it's really easy to put all of your attention on your kids and none on your spouse. It's really important to continue putting in the effort into your marriage and serving your spouse and
showing that affection so that they see that in turn. And yeah.
How do you know when the right time to propose is, honey? How did you know?
Oh, that was a long time ago. I just knew, I guess. That's the corny, typical answer.
Knew.
But
was there like ever a specific moment or something that I said or that we did?
You said you wanted to get married, and then I never really thought of it until that point. And then I remember I talked to my youth leader at the time. I went for coffee and talked a lot more about it, and he gave me a book, and I never read the book. But even just talking with someone and, putting together a bit of a life plan with him helped set it in my mind. Because when you said it, it was like, oh, yeah. No.
But the idea of marriage was right from the get-go. Otherwise, we wouldn't have dated at all.
Yes, the intentions of marriage, but the idea of marriage did not come to me.
What is the biggest thing you disagree on and how do you handle that?
Tech stuff, computer stuff.
Oh no.
And how do you deal with that? We don't touch each other's stuff. Prime example, this happened just before this. Delilah's like, is this mic okay? And I was like, well, it should be a bit lower. She's like, no, it's fine.
Is this appropriate
needs
or
to be
is it
lower.
not good enough?
As low as possible.
That is low.
As low as possible. You just asked me, and then I said, and you're like, no, it's good.
We literally each have our own cameras.
Well, to be fair, we both use them.
Yes, but his camera's off limits to me. I am not allowed to touch that. And if I mess with the settings...
Yeah. I have my settings that I use, which is different than from what you use, and vice versa. If I go into your camera and change the settings, and then you do a whole video, happened before, the settings were wrong, something was wrong, and then I have to go back and fix it. That's where we do not...
He is so particular about the way he
because there's a way to do it.
Electronic. What year of marriage was the hardest for you and why?
I wouldn't say there's a particular year.
Do you remember like a specific season or a time when it just kind of fell off?
No.
Because I know we've gone through phases where it just feels
maybe like
off.
a day or two, or maybe like not even a week. I wouldn't say like we're offset for a week. Maybe like not with like marriage, but like with work, or like you've been burnt out from work, and so have I. But
maybe it's just me then, because there are phases, especially like towards the end of pregnancy for me.
Well, that's when your hormones are adjusting,
and that maybe that's why it's just me. Maybe it's not so much you, but for me, especially towards the end of pregnancy and then into postpartum, like my body's just not the same. Everything hurts. Everything's uncomfortable. Sex is kind of like off the table. Not off the table completely, but like it's not very enjoyable for me, and that's a big part of a marriage relationship. And when you can't do that or it's not enjoyable, that can kind of put a rift between the two of you. So when I'm in that stage of life, that's when I feel like our marriage has struggled a little. On my end, I guess not on his end.
Maybe on like that connection level, or that, but not like to the point where it's like we don't know each other, or we don't...
No, it just feels off. Do you see sex as a duty, something to do for the other whether you want to or not? See, here's the thing. In the Bible, it says that my body is his body is mine. We are to serve each other when the other person is in need. There'll be times when I'm not in the mood, but I will anyway, because I know he needs it. There will be times when I'm like really not feeling good, and then Zach will respect me and say, it's okay, we can wait until another time. It kind of goes both ways, but withholding yourself from your spouse out of spite or out of anger, or, you know, I don't think that's right.
No, I can't say that we've ever done that either. Like, it's not like that would cause major tensions, like a huge gateway and back into something that they don't want to do, or to pursue it elsewhere.
That's a big thing. And that's why I think the Bible really talks about, like, you are one, your bodies are each other's, and this is something that you do for each other. How do you guys discuss finances? Every time one of us spends money, we first tell the other person. It doesn't matter if it's $10, if it's $100, whatever. We always talk to the other person. Having that open communication, I feel like, has been such a game changer in our marriage, because there's nothing to hide, and I trust him fully, and I assume you trust me.
I do. You do talk to me before you buy something.
And if the other person, and well, that's what I was getting to. If the other person thinks like, no, this is actually a really bad idea, then we talk about it and we work through it. Basically, there's no secrets. We talk about everything, where all of our money is, and it's not his money and my money. It's our money. Advice for first-time parents. Our marriage has totally been a backseat to our baby and is struggling. It'll take time, but it gets better. Like I was mentioning before, I always feel like our marriage is a little bit rocky in the first like couple months after having a baby at the end of pregnancy. You're adjusting to having a whole new human in your life and in your household, and caring for this human and learning what their needs are and how to take care of them, and it's huge. And to go through a big life adjustment like that is not easy on a marriage, but it does get better once you figure it out. It's a learning curve. It's trial and error. You got to figure out what works best for you and for your spouse, and getting back into a routine.
Trying to spend time like together when the baby's asleep, and like even though you're both exhausted, even if you're like watching a show or doing something in the same room, or just so you can talk and be together without a baby is important too.
At-home date nights are great, and
Yeah.
we've made it a priority in the last year to do it every week, and that's been lovely.
I feel like I should help you. Hey. No, okay, stop. Go back. Okay, let me see something. Okay, let me see this. Electronics. Give it to me. I know more than you.
Leave me alone!
Can you check?
You're having issues, but moving on. Have either of you struggled with resentment against the other? If so, how have you both dealt with it? There are instances. A reoccurring one for me with you is... Just gonna put it all out there.
Yeah, go for it.
Getting you out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, and then I get mad at you for getting mad at me, so.
That you just don't get out of the bed. You just
I did this
lay
morning.
there. Yeah, at 8.
No, it was 7:30.
No, it wasn't. This is something
That you need to
that
work on.
that I struggle with because I go to bed at the same time he does. I'm awake with William all night. He does help me sometimes. But I'm awake with him all night, and then he sleeps in, and then he complains that he's tired, and it's like
I need to work on that.
we're trying to get
Yes.
into routine.
Yes, we need a routine, and that's what the New Year's resolution is. I have a day planner. I'm gonna wake up on time and be more productive with my time.
We're really trying to get into routine this year.
Yeah.
Here's one of the things that I will be working on.
What is this?
Here's the thing. I haven't told you this. What's that verse in Proverbs that talks about a nagging wife being like a leaky faucet or something?
I don't know.
In Proverbs it talks a lot about nagging wives and the negativity of nagging wives, and I'm realizing I'm becoming a nagging wife. And it's not my job to change my husband.
It's my job to change myself.
It's not my job to change my husband. That's not up to me. I can't do that. If that's what I'm trying to do, I'm gonna get nowhere and I'm just gonna get frustrated. I have to accept him as he is, love him, serve him as he is,
All times, all hours of the day.
and pray for him.
Pray that I get out of bed.
Only the Lord can change the heart.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm praying for you, honey.
I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you.
I'm praying good things for you. But it's true. Like, if you're having an issue in your marriage, it's not up to you to change that person. The only thing you can do is pray. And pray that the Lord will change their heart or change your heart or just make it work. And he will. Zach, what piece of clothing do you enjoy seeing Delilah wear and why?
Preferably nothing.
What outfit do you like seeing me in?
I don't know.
I ask him this on occasion. Usually his answer is white t-shirt.
White t-shirts are
White
nice.
t-shirt.
Yeah, it's very nice.
And he likes my hair up.
I like that too, but
But you
if
prefer
if
that.
you're like doing your hair, like if you're getting ready for like a ball or something, and you got like a dress on, it's kind of tight, and you got your hair up, and you're like got some makeup, it's a little bit of makeup on, even though you don't need it.
Good save, honey. Good save.
And then you don't put underwear on, it's just like, yeah. Yeah.
I like seeing you in skinny jeans.
Yeah, no.
And a nice sweater.
But not like slim, but like leggings.
No. Like these. I like these jeans.
I do like these jeans too.
Do you argue or bicker in front of the kids, and how do you control that? Yeah, I'm someone who cannot keep my feelings in. If I'm upset, it comes out. If I need to say something to you, I can't hold it back. That's really hard for me. And maybe something I should work on. But like,
you always, when you're mad, you don't say anything. And then I have to
that's
question
when
you.
I'm really mad. That's like stage 3 of mad.
Oh. I'm learning things in this talk too.
We do bicker in front of the kids. And I think it's important for our kids to see us argue and then
Resolve.
the argument. But at the same time, we're not the kind of people who have screaming, fighting arguments. When we bicker, it's that. It's bickering. It's not full out heated argument. If we're really mad, we just don't talk to each other for like half an hour so that we can cool down. But yeah, we don't really hide anything. But then again, we haven't also reached... am I boring you? We haven't had an argument that was so bad that we felt we had to hide it from the kids. Tips for how to solve those hard conversations that seem to never get any closer to completion. You just gotta fight. You gotta argue. Often there's small things that like Zach will bring up or I'll bring up over and over and over again. And the other person doesn't want to talk about it, and so we just kind of like breeze past it and don't talk about it until finally we just have to argue about it. And there'll be tears, there'll be anger, like it's bad. But then we resolve it, we get past it, and we move on, right?
I think that's important to talk about it, resolve it, move on.
Sometimes you
The
just
three things.
have to argue.
Argue, resolve, move on. There you go. Big letters. Argue, resolve, move on. That's 4. I think I said 3 letters. This is why we're supposed to call it coffee talks with coffee. It's your emoji. 100%.
Okay. Shh. Shh. It's wise not to go in with statements such as always. This is something we learned in marriage counseling. Always or never. Saying like, you always do this or you never do this. It's a lot more wise to say hello, can I help you?
Can we have 5 minutes?
We're not done yet, okay?
You can stand right there if you're very quiet.
It's best to say things like, I feel like you don't often, or I feel like you do often do this. Like, don't use statements that are... What's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, moving on. What are your hobbies together and or separately? Most of our hobbies are separate.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other day we were in the room, I was playing a video game, which I enjoy, and Delilah was puzzling, which she enjoys, and she was very excited about, and I was excited for her that she was excited about a puzzle. But
I was so excited.
So
it
we were
was
separate.
So fun.
We were separate but together.
I like things like reading and crafting, like doing anything that's like creative with my hands, I love. And Zach does like snowmobiling and golfing on occasion. The one thing we kind of like together is like antiquing. How did you manage finances, money goals, budgeting when you first got married versus now?
That's like a whole series.
Yeah, this would be a good topic to go into on like a whole series, but...
I feel like we have a lot of good information for that one. But
we do.
To pick it out of our minds in the air, it's not.
Well, let's just do like a general overview. Because
Sure.
when we first got married, we were a lot more tight on budget.
Well, we should... Can I do this one?
Sure.
Okay. When we first got married, like Delilah said, we had more of a budget. So what we did was we tracked all of our expenses for 1 month, knew exactly how much was coming in and how much we were spending. We had a clothing allowance. We had all these different areas where we kind of estimated where money would go. And so that
I'll let
really...
you keep talking. I'm gonna go grab William.
Tracked all of our expenses in the beginning of our marriage, so we knew exactly what was coming in and what was going out. That in turn kind of corrected our mindset of like how much we can spend for things and like prioritize.
Well, that's how we set our budget for
Yeah.
each category.
And even now, I guess we do budget still. We're more lenient because with the mindset we know we have a bit more extra money for certain things. Made us like think about our purchases and prioritize what we buy.
We don't spend money just to spend money. Like, we are very careful with what we purchase. We talk about it before we buy it.
We don't buy new things very often.
No, we buy a lot of things secondhand. Like, we try to be very smart with how we spend our money. We're also set up with a financial advisor.
That's
which
where I
has
feel
been
like,
huge.
yes, that's what I was set up initially before we even were dating. I was set up with a financial advisor, and I would highly recommend talking to someone just to track expenses and start saving. Having the mindset of saving to buy later versus buying now and saving later is a very important life lesson.
Oh, we wouldn't have been able to afford
No.
our homes had we not saved. And
Yes.
like, you started saving
And it's, you don't
as
have,
soon as you had a job.
when you say like saving, it's not like, you know, $1,000 a month or whatever. It can be $50 a month, and put into the right place, it can make a huge difference.
What is your favorite dating memory?
I think just like spending time at your parents' house, like gaming or watching a movie, or even the first time we held hands on the train bridge and then went to see the first Hobbit movie. Those are the two kind of things that stick out in my mind.
We were very young when we first started dating, and we did not go out very often. Like, our dates were going to each other's houses, often just watching movies, just hanging out. That's basically all we did. One of my favorite memories, I don't know if you remember this, it was late at night. It was dark outside. It was a warm summer evening. We parked by the river.
Oh yeah, that was a good moment.
And I saw fireflies for the first time.
Yeah, it was very romantic.
We sat there and we made out.
We watched by the fireflies, by the river, as the sun was. It was like corny movie moment, but
romantic.
That was probably the most romantic thing we've ever done.
Was the most romantic thing we've ever done.
Forgot about that.
That was a good moment.
It was a good moment. It was truly magical.
It was.
Were we sitting on my car hood or were we sitting in front of my car? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I just remember making out.
Ooh.
Always giggles. Do you even know what that means? It means mommy and daddy were kissing. How do you not get bored with each other? He's my best friend.
Yeah.
And being with him is like being home for me.
Oh, wow, you're such a cutie for your little...
It's true.
Yeah.
And you know, I knew this like... Is that how you feel? I knew this very early on in our dating relationship because we went on a mission trip with our class. We had like just started dating. It had been a couple months. I don't think we'd even kissed yet. I'm the kind of person who needs to be alone. I'm an introvert. I refuel from being alone, and so being thrown into this mission trip where I'm surrounded by people literally 24/7, I was a little nervous about that. But being with him felt like my alone time. It felt like being home, and that's how I knew. A couple months into our dating relationship that you were the one.
Wow.
Pretty special. 16? Barely 16? That's not funny. Do you feel selfish for wanting to spend time with each other without your kids?
I don't think so, because we spend most time with our kids.
And I think it's important, so important for our kids to see us wanting to spend time with each other, just the two of us.
Even to like know that, oh, mom and dad are going on a date tonight. Mom and dad date.
Like I said before, our relationship is our children's safe place. So for them to see us spending time with each other and wanting to spend time with each other is good. Really good. At-home date night ideas. There's a few ideas that we haven't necessarily done that I want to do. Things like recreating your honeymoon dinner. I think one of your friends was mentioning this.
My friends?
Yeah. Recreating your honeymoon in an evening at home. Like a food that you really enjoyed eating together. And like watching videos or doing activities or something that brings you back to those days. But like watching videos and going through pictures and
we did that actually as a date night one night. We went through all of my old pictures.
Oh, that was such a good date night.
That was really, really, and you wouldn't think that like, oh, looking through old pictures like, you know.
Of our early dating years.
Yeah, but it was really funny. Lots of good laughs. It was
so much.
Lots of laughing. It was just laughing at each other. It was really, really funny.
It was good. Things like I want to move our mattress into the living room one night. I know people who do this often. Moving our mattress into the living room and just having like a movie night. Wow. How'd you guys get back to a good place after being so stressed and touched out? I think we just spend a few hours kind of zoning out and doing nothing, or working, even like just zoning out and getting into work, like distracting ourselves from the day and then coming back. It kind of resets our mind. We forget about the stressfulness and the hardness of the day. Do you find it hard to ask for what you want, like having him take the kids for a bit? I used to find this hard. And then with William, when I was pregnant with him, I had a hard time. My body was struggling. I was in pain. It was hard. And I had to ask Zach to help me a lot. Like, I wasn't capable of lifting heavy things. I felt so useless. And it's a terrible feeling, but I really had to rely on Zach a lot. And especially after he was born, because I had a C-section, And it was just so hard for my body to come back from that. And I was in so much pain, I couldn't do anything. And I really had to rely on him. And so I think that was kind of a turning point for me. It's easy for me to ask him now. Is it hard for you to ask me to do something?
Not like for me to ask, but I know you're always so busy, so sometimes I feel, maybe. Because I know you're always overwhelmed and busy, so it's like for me to say like, oh, Delilah, can I go do this? Like, can I have a morning of work? When I know you're stressed and like loaded up, then it's just like, then it's hard for me to ask because I know that it's gonna cause stress, or me leaving is gonna be hard on you because then you have to do everything and watch the kids.
Yeah.
So sometimes it is hard for me to ask.
We're in a weird stage of life where my tasks are more plentiful than yours.
Yeah.
Typically on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's vice versa, but most of the time my tasks are heavier than his, and so I'm usually the one relying on him. That is the end of today's video. I love filming these videos. I know you guys love having this guy join me. So we want to make this a series. Let me know in the comments below what topics you'd like us to touch on, and yeah, we'll do future videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. You're adjusting to having a whole new human in your household that you were...
A new human.
Specifically put a candle right there. You can't even see it.
Put a candle there for like looks.
Yeah.
So we don't talk about that.